nothing. It just took the big, huge pipe and like, you're the first person I've ever told. I didn't tell anybody about that.
Yeah.
Not even.
Jesse James, the Pope of Welding. How you doing?
All right. Just working, just in the shop.
Thank you so much for coming on, mate. I really do appreciate it.
No problem, man.
Well, you're in Austin, Texas, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Austin.
And how long have you lived there? Because you moved from California, right?
Moved here part-time, like 50% of the time in 2004, and then full-time in 2010. So I've been here almost going on 20 years. So
awesome. Do you think is that you there now forever? Do you think? Do you miss home?
I have so much machines and stuff. I don't want to move all this stuff again.
Yeah, I bet.
After, 13 years here, I'm just now getting everything kind of nested and sorted and where I can just work every day.
So, I mean, yeah, when was the last bike you built?
For myself, I just finished one up like last week. So, we still build bikes every day.
You're still taking on commissions and stuff?
Yeah, we did only, but like maybe 5 or 6 builds a year. But all the best bikes we ever built at the shop in Long Beach were the ones that I always built for myself because I didn't have a budget or a time constraint or anything like that. And I just went for it and did whatever I wanted. Well, that's the only kind of builds I want to do now. So I'm pretty lucky that I have like customers that kind of just let me do it and not really, they pretty much just tell me, build it like you're building for yourself, and that. So I'm lucky to be doing that type of stuff. So 100 times nicer and more functional. Before we were like trying to get stuff done really fast. We're building 10 or 12 bikes a month, and now we just like take our time. Everything's handmade and really nice stuff. So
what's a typical kind of lead time on a custom bike?
It's probably just depends. Some of them have so much legwork. Like we do some stainless steel frames we build the frame and then we send it to one of our gun engravers. Mm-hmm. And it typically takes about a year or so to build a frame, or about a year to engrave a frame. Then it comes back and then it gets polished again. Then it gets put back in the fixture and then welded up, then polished again. Then we can start building the bike. But some of I have one frame that's been in an engraver almost 2 years now. So,
wow.
It's all done by hand. It's not like machine engraved. It's all done by hand.
Are you still building the same kind of style of chops that you've always built? The big rear end?
No.
Or is it changing?
So like we bought into that. We were kind of the first ones to do like rigid frames with a big 230 tire on it and stuff. And I'm just not into it.
No.
Like I think for the size of your body and your ass sitting on a cycle, a 200 tire is like the perfect size.
Yeah.
180 or 200 on the back is like perfect size to proportion. And it's a size that you don't have to like double hump on the rear end to get it to turn. You can just, it's very easy to ride, very proportional. And it's like got some meat. So if you have a bigger motor, you get really good traction. So.
Well, what's your favorite motor to use?
Right now we use an SNS 111, but we do our own head work. Like we, port match the heads and port and polish. And then we have our own cam. So they're really just a great motor. Kind of, I always like 113s before because it's just great motor, great power, and you can't really kill it. You can be really mean to it and they don't die. Like we start with merch motors and the big inch stuff like 131s. They're big and they have that big number you could tell everybody, and they like make a lot of noise and they go good. But then on big power, on the top end, they kind of peter out. I like bikes that you could just more about riding and the rideability, coming out of corners and you can wick it on and run out of, go through every gear and it's fun and it's a happy motor. It doesn't get hot,
Yeah, especially over there as well. Because your trips are so fucking long. You know, going from state to state. It's nothing like here in the UK.
3,000 miles across country one way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm flying over next week to do the El Diablo run, and there's guys from fucking New York and shit, and it's
where for down in San Felipe?
yeah.
I raced down there. I raced off road. Like, you think the El Diablo's run is fun when you're on the highway? You should drive the highway in the dirt.
Yeah, man, that sounds amazing.
100 miles an hour through bumps that are like, you know, a meter high.
Holy shit.
Fun. It's the next level.
But I mean, my friend who's invited me over, he's actually lending me an Africa Twin.
Oh, yeah. Fun or new one?
Oh, I'm not sure.
You get one of the ones that doesn't have the automatic traction control, because I think like Honda put in some kind of weird traction lockout thing where you couldn't spin the tire. And the whole fun thing about riding a dirt bike is you kind of steer it with the wheel and like spin it to turn.
Yeah.
You know?
I saw that you bought a Pan, didn't you? Pan America.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Harley sent me one. So I love it. It's a great bike. I mean, I've had 2 or 3 BMW GS 1200s, and they're okay, but it's German engineered, so it runs good and everything. It's just with the shaft drive for dirt, for real. Like, I like to go fast, and so if you're like some old man with like shit strapped all over to your bike and you're going like 3 miles an hour in the dirt, yeah, it's fine. But when you're doing 60, 70 miles an hour on graded roads, it gets a little weird. And GSs, I don't really think are the best highway bike, because they have this weird like tail wiggle on the freeway, like at like 50 miles an hour. And I don't know if it's the harmonics from the shaft drive or what it is, but I just could never get used to it. I mean, I pre-run when I race in Mexico. I pre-run, and I still have an old school 2007 Honda XR 650R.
Cool.
And Cadillac in the dirt, man. You can go bumps and just, you know, fun. And I kind of gauge everything off of how well that bike works in the dirt. And the Pan America it's just a great bike. It's really, you know, putting it out there and putting the Harley badge on it, the bar and shield on it, people are automatically going to hate it, because they don't want to deal with people like you or me, you know.
Totally.
And that actually has opened up Harley to a whole new customer and crowd. But, you know, since I've ridden like a GS up to the top of the Arctic Circle in the winter and stuff like that, you know, I follow all the blogs like ADV Rider and all that stuff, and it's kind of funny to see their perspective on it. You know, they're just whiners and crybabies. You know, ride bikes hard, even a brand new. You know, every bike you can crack a frame on a new bike if you ride it hard enough. You know, and people aren't really. They want something that they don't have to do maintenance on at all, ever.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. Like my Pan America, I went and picked it up from the dealer, and the dealer's like 40 miles down the road here in Texas, and a piece of pipe, like 4-inch round by this tall pipe, was I was in the carpool lane all the way to the left, and I was a real narrow lane because there was like gravel and shit on both sides, and I had to hit it, and I hit that thing square on, boom, and like got both. Literally, like I'd been on the bike for 5 minutes and I was going 80 miles an hour and hit that thing. Got both wheels off the ground and wham, landed. And I'm like, okay, that's
the test.
Test I need. I didn't get a flat. I didn't high side it, or I didn't stuff the front end, nothing. It just took the big, huge pipe. And like, you're the first person I've ever told. I didn't tell anybody about that. Not even like, but it's just they're just well thought out and you know, and it's the first year model. So they're always going to have, you know, teething problems. I mean, in 1936, when the first knucklehead, they were so in competition with Indian to get that thing to the market that they rushed it to production. So there's stuff that's like hand welded, and hand fit and stuff. And even 37, they still did a bunch of dealer retrofits for like the brake stay. They like gas welded a little bar. And then 38, it took them 2 years to finally get their stuff together. And the 38 is like the best of your knuckle. So, you know,
Right.
people have to like, you know, they're going to have a valuable bike because it's the first year. The first year is always the most valuable, but you have to
Yeah.
like, you know, and it's, the teething pains are so minor. It's like they have like a little sensor that was overheating, and then the exhaust shield bracket cracked on a
Right.
bunch of,
Yeah.
you know, stuff that they can't foresee. You know, they can't, you know, they can overbuild it as much as you want. And I think people make a big deal out of stuff like that. Like nothing ever goes wrong with the Jap bike ever.
Yeah, totally. That's the thing. But like Jap bike lovers, they search for anything to complain about when it comes to Harley.
You know, but yeah, I love it. It's a great bike. I mean, I have like that, and I have like a anniversary. My two new Harleys. I have the Pan America, and then I have a 30th anniversary Fat Boy, which
Nice.
I just like. It's the only thing I did is I put those Sportster like Hollywood bars on it and turned my risers around so it moved them because I'm tall, so to move the bars out, but nothing else. I made some running boards for it. That's it. Like it's like, to me, it's like just a great bike, just stock.
Yeah.
You know, Harley really, it's kind of changed, you know, between like in the 30s, like Indian went out of business because they were heavy duty, overbuilt. They spent too much money on the bikes, you know, when 30s, 40s, and they went out of business in the early 50s. And Harley was more cost efficient. Now it's
Okay.
the other way. Indians are designed by computer and plastic and cost efficient, and Harleys are heavy duty. So
Right.
hopefully it doesn't swallow them up like it did Indian, but I think it's just great bikes.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty cool they've gone into, you know, that market. You know, I mean, it's clever. You know, they've made the right choice. And I mean, even chopper guys, like hardcore chopper guys, like I watched Danger Dan, and he's like traveling all over say South America on this Pan America, and I've never been an adventure bike rider, but I fucking want to buy one. You know, I'm looking at them every day now, like.
The Africa Twin's a good bike and has lots of good stuff on it. So, and Honda's like, to me, Honda's the standard for dirt bikes.
Yeah, of
Like if you
course.
get a Honda, you know, everything else is just going to break and leave you stranded.
Yeah. So what's the race that you do down in San Felipe?
I race a trophy truck, like an unlimited trophy truck,
Oh wow.
4 series.
And when's that? Is that every year or?
Yeah, they have 3 or 4 races a year down there.
Sick. That's why I wanted to speak to you about so what you're building more of now. I mean, the guns, they seem to be.
Yeah, we kind of found a little niche market, and kind of the gun industry here in America, in England, France, Italy, Belgium, Austria, you know, custom. Like if you're a real rich guy and you want to go get a gun, you can get a sporting rifle that's like £1,000,000,
Yeah.
and like you can have like an eagle engraved on the side, and like, you know, it's a bespoke industry. Everything's made to order, made for that. Well, America, that doesn't exist. It's more of a machine shop game. So like, okay, we're making 2,000 of these. Which one do you want? A black one or a gray one? That's
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Kind of take the same business model we did with the bike. Like all my skills like directly transferred over, and it just yeah, it just feels like what I'm supposed to be doing, you know.
So did you learn off somebody? Did you? Because I know that's what you usually find an old head and then you'll.
10 years ago, I went and did my master pistol smith apprenticeship with the #1 pistol smith in America, which is a guy by the name of Jim Garthwaite. He's since passed away, but he's just a real pragmatic machinist. Like you do this, 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 and the gun shoots straight, you know?
Yeah, man.
And the whole first part of the apprenticeship was like, here's how you sand metal. Here's how you file metal. Here's
Right.
how you polish metal, and then here's how you weld. Well, I fixed his machine and taught him how to weld better. We can probably skip a lot of this and jump forward and just get to the building part, and I just went into it, I didn't start off building guns just to build a gun. I mean, my goal in mind was like, I want to be the best. I want to build, I don't want to build the middle of the pack guns. I want to build the best. And, knock on wood, it seems like we've really made a lot of headway. And people thought I was just going to like, slap my name on stuff and like, here, Jesse James gun, and use money, and really a lot of resistance at first for the first few years. And then now we've been in business for 10 years, and it seems like it's kind of turned around. Like, I have like a similar reputation to I have with bikes.
Yeah.
And I just love it. It just seems more important, motorcycles, and we still build custom cars, but those things are the same as like a boat, an RV, a side-by-side, dirt bikes.
Yeah.
When down, that's the first stuff you sell.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's also a trend, like, hurry up and get my bike done. There's a big show Saturday, or I want to go to the El Diablo run. People just want to show it off. With guns, people don't want to do any of that. It's very personal. They're not thinking about their ownership. They're thinking about 2 generations from now, their grandson. When he gets my guns, what's he going to think about them?
Yeah.
Just such an, I've had guys like break down and cry in front of me a couple times because of this, just because like, dedicated to their daughter that died of cancer, or what, and it's just such a, I think because it's a deadly weapon and it's for protection, it makes it more personal and from the heart. And that's not just an American thing, that's all over the world. Everybody gets their grandpa, shotgun or something like that.
Yeah.
To hold something that was theirs, it's like it's continuing a continuation of the family and tradition.
It's a shame over here because we can't really experience that here, because I mean, here you can get 2 years in prison just for carrying brass knuckles.
Yep, because you live in a monarchy.
That's
really one of my best friends. I've been friends with him for over 30 years. He's a comic book artist by the name of Simon Beasley, and he's in England. I talk smack to him all the time about being, well, are you sure the king or queen is going to let you do that? Like,
yeah. So how did the Trump gun come about? Did he order it, or?
Well, I'm friends with him. I did the Apprentice, and then after that just stayed friends with the family. And I didn't really want to give it to him publicly. I just wanted to build him a cool gun. And every president, like Theodore Roosevelt, all of them, they all have really cool custom guns. Like Roosevelt has these big hunting rifles that were made by, I think they were made in England. I think it's a Wesley Richards,
right? And
presidential library and stuff like that. So when you give it the president a gift, it becomes the ownership. The people own it, like we own it. Okay. And so it'll go to his presidential library. And in the beginning, I was like, "Fuck that! I just want to give it to my friend." Like, and I do it through or whatever. And they're like, "No, trust me, you want to give it because it'll be in display in his library forever." So.
You're living like when it comes to work, you're living like a bit of a quieter life now, right?
Yeah, I just work every day. I mean, I think from the outside looking in, it seems like I live this crazy life with like strippers and parties and all that stuff. But really, like, to accomplish what I want to accomplish on a weekly basis, I just have to work.
Yeah.
Myself in the shop and just work every day. I take Sundays off and that's it, and I think it's just a math equation, when people, oh, how'd you do that? How'd you make this? How'd you do that? It's just like put more hours in than anybody else. I really don't have that much I don't have that many friends, and I don't have that much of a social life, I guess.
Hmm.
Like go out to dinner once a week or something, but I just love what I do. You
Yeah.
know, I love working and I love pushing myself, and that's kind of where it's at, you know.
I remember being a kid and watching you on TV, and I remember you'd always be saying like, "This is great, but I just want to fucking work," you know?
Yeah, I just don't want to be, I don't know. Like when there was just a big car show in town last weekend, or MotoGP was after all these people and friends and from Europe and all over the place wanting to stop by, and it makes me like tense up when people come by, because then I feel obligated to like entertain them and show them the shop, and basically pause working to, so you know, to.
Yeah.
And the shop we have like, I have a dozen guys that work here, and it's just great. Like we motorcycles, cars, we have a line of culinary knives, like paint shop, machine shop, woodworking shop, you know. So I'm really an honor and a pleasure to work with all these guys every day. So my obligation to them is not really being a boss.
Yeah.
My obligation is to work and get as much stuff done as possible so I don't hold them up, you know.
Yeah. So no TV stuff planned for the future?
Well, I'm starting my own TV network. So
Oh, wow.
I started, we're raising funds now for calling it Outlaw TV, and I signed Paul Senior to a show, Billy Lane, a guy named Will Castro, custom car show, and then we're bringing back Biker Build Off, which we're calling Chopper Kings, and then we're going to do a gun competition show, and just we already did this whole business model before social media. We did it in the early 2000s, where I had a fan club site called Chopper Dogs, and we had a paywall, and we produced original content, and everybody, 20,000 people paying $9.95 a month. And we kind of, social media like swallowed that up, and then now we're using the same business model and doing all these other shows, you know. And I just after 24 years on Discovery Channel and a little bit on History and a show on Fox, I'm tired of doing it for everybody else. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, networks don't even know what I do. They don't know what my skill set is. So, and I just take charge and do everything, and they make all the money, and they're selling networks for billions of dollars. And it's just like, why am I doing it? Why am I gift wrapping it? You know, and more so is the freedom. Like, I still have to, like, all the success I've had on TV, I still have to like beg them to like green light a show. And I don't want to do it anymore. And
I can imagine that the stuff that you're totally in control of. I can imagine that being a million times better than the stuff that was on.
it always is, you know. I did like the documentary, I did History of the Chopper and the Iraq special, and, you know, the blacksmith special I did for History Channel and all that stuff. It's just always the best stuff where they have minimal input. And I think, uh, in this day and age, like, I think people will pay $20 a month to watch. There's nothing really for us to watch on TV anymore.
I was about to say that.
I mean, I watch BBC Select the most, probably, with like older stuff, like 5-part series on the Silk Road, and like Persia. Just informative stuff is my favorite, because I just don't think there's anything for people that use their hands to watch anymore. You know, it's all scripted reality stuff, you know. And
Totally.
kind of want to, you know, I started this whole reality TV thing. I was the first in 1999, and now I kind of want to push it a new level of it, you know, and just have a TV show with people making, you know, or a network and a pay service with people just making things and showing the passion and the skills and the hard work and the blood and the sweat behind it, and not like, hey, everybody, let's go to the go-kart track. You know, people don't want to see bullshit anymore. They want to see something real, you know.
Yeah. My last guest, Terry Shanks, that's what he was saying. He was saying that people are starving for something real now. You know, like there's so much fake bullshit out there.
Yeah, and we're just doing it. We'll do it, you know, it's more of a membership program, and we'll do it and let people have say. The app will have like a social media aspect of it, and like,
Cool.
so stay there, they can talk about it, they could say, hey, this sucks, don't do that, or they could say, oh, I love this, do more. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
really make, because if you don't like something on Netflix, who do you tell?
Yeah, totally.
Like, who
Yeah,
do you say?
exactly. Yeah. You just have a rant about it on your Facebook and it's done.
Exactly. So
Yeah. That's cool. And I think like having the being humble enough to have that in place as well, where you're going to take everybody's criticism and stuff like that, it can only go one way.
yeah, I'm trying to contain my excitement about it. I'm not thinking about, the money we're raising is just to fund the programming. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not thinking else. I just want to focus on the quality content and have people have stuff where they can watch every week, and stuff that kids can watch, because I was lucky with Monster Garage and some of the documentaries I've done that kids watch it and inspire them to either like use an English wheel or learn how to weld or learn how to cut their mom's car apart or, stuff like that. But that's still, it's inspiration. And I want to kind of do the next round of that. And I feel like this whole reality TV thing has went to a real lazy way of making TV where it's not real and it's mostly scripted. And I just don't want to get it. I want to break the chain on that.
So I mean, how did you start that in 1999? Did you say?
Yeah,
How
I was
did how did it come about?
Discovery Channel went to all the motorcycle magazines, Hot Bike, Hot Rod Bikes, Easy Riders, American Iron, and oh, and Cycle World, and all five out of they said they wanted a no bullshit story of how a bike actually gets built, and
Right.
5 out got to go see Jesse.
Oh, that's
And
sick.
even said, and I did some like local TV shows and like Speed Vision, just interviews and stuff, and I didn't really see any value in it. Like I didn't, TV wasn't even on my radar. I was magazine famous.
Yeah,
Like
of
if
course.
I was on the cover of Hot Bike like 4 or 5 times during the 1990s, and that was the shit. Like I was the man. Like I would show up to like Sturgis, and people would have me sign the magazines, and I didn't really see it getting bigger than that. Like I thought that was like, I'm top dog.
Yeah, yeah.
They wanted to film, and we were getting ready for Daytona, and I really didn't see value, and I like reluctantly let them do it, and it Discovery at the time was, getting ready to file bankruptcy, and they didn't have any money, and all they had was like bugs, like, stories about volcanoes,
Yeah.
dinosaurs. This wasn't, uh, something that, I just didn't see it when we filmed it. And luckily one of the producers was, Dave Ebert, and his dad was Jake Ebert, and Jake Ebert's helped with the editing of the first show that I did. And Jake Ebert's is like, he's got he had like 80 Academy Awards, and he
Wow.
did Gandhi, Dances with Wolves. So to have that guy have his fingers on the board
Yeah, of
of doing
course.
the very first show I did, it just, and it just pretty much shut down that whole network. There was no social media, so people were calling. They had like a switchboard and like calling, like, man, I just saw Jesse, that was fucking awesome. Like, that's how you got your point across, 24 years ago. But, and it just kind of carried it into there, and we did another documentary, a 2-hour special, and then we did Monster Garage for 6 or 7 years, and then, here we are. And from day one with that very first show, like I called the shots. Hey, we got to do this riding shot. We got to
Right.
ride to the we got to show this guy. We got to do all this stuff. And all the people, like, I'm the first one that ever put Indian Larry on TV. I had to pay his way because Discovery didn't want to pay for him to ride with me to Sturgis. They didn't know who he was, didn't think people would like
Right.
him. I did, Billy Lane, all these other people that I put on TV first. And it, like, the history of the chopper 2-hour special I did, that started the whole Born Free movement
Mhm.
of like style choppers. And it's just all these little things, these little hallmarks are all kind of things that tell me I need to be doing it for myself. And I've been talking about it for like 12, 13 years about starting my own network.
Yeah.
I think it's just time. I want
Yeah.
to do it before I run out of time to do it.
And you've got plenty of experience.
I think so.
Yeah.
And over in England, what bike you riding every day?
So
It's not raining.
the story of my fucking life. And I've got a 1949 panhead, but it's in a swing arm shovel head frame.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So the panhead's the go-to.
I'm still like the greatest English bike builder ever is a really good lifelong friend of mine is John Reed.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, he's a dickhead, but I love him. You know, like I all the shows like Padova and everything all through the 90s, like with the Battistinis and all those guys over there. And like, my West Coast Choppers is a brand. We're not even based in America. My whole corporate offices and distribution center is in Rotterdam, Holland. So I spend
fucking hell
time in the Netherlands because we don't even ship stuff from America. If you buy a West Coast Choppers shirt,
yep,
it comes straight from Rotterdam straight to you. And then we can ship from Rotterdam to the US anywhere, and it's here in 3 days, and it's like $11. So it's like,
holy shit.
And I used to combine it where I had like warehouse, shipping, receiving, all that stuff for merchandise and all the craftsmen. And it's always $12 an hour employees with $25 an hour employees. It's always going to be a clash.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I kind of eliminated that like, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago. And now we just keep it based out of Holland. It's crazy. It's a global brand. Like we ship worldwide, and it's starting to skew way younger.
Yeah.
Like 13, 14-year-olds are wearing the logo, and it's like, makes me feel old, but it's also kind of cool. It's cool because they probably took the shirt from their dad.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally.
Made it cool again. So yeah, we kind of trying to lean into that and do some styles and stuff to keep it, but it's still going along. The motorcycles that I started building in my mom's garage in 1989, and it's still rolling. So
I mean, I'd fucking love to see your collection. I mean, you asked me I've got 3 bikes. How many have you got?
I got my 1925 JDH like hill climber sitting up behind me on the shelf.
Holy shit.
One of only 3 made.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I don't know. I have like 3 knuckleheads in my house. So
fuck you.
I have a 36 that's number 0061. It's made in the first 3 days of production of the knucklehead. And I have a 38, a European export model. And then I have the Gold Digger, that big long Harmon front end frame up frame chopper that kind of looks like a bird.
The Gold Digger is easily one of my favorite choppers ever fucking made. Like that frame, that shape, like the down tubes and everything. Like, how was that even made?
I didn't make it. It was a Mongol guy named oh shit, I forget his last name, Greg. But he made it in LA in the 70s, and he said he was high on mescaline when he made it. And he said he bent the tubes around like a big drum to get those radius bends in it.
Yeah.
And then the shop they only made 2 frames, and I got the one that never got built, and the other one, the shop got bombed in the 70s by the Hells Angels, and that frame survived. And so that's how we made it.
That's cool as fuck.
I bought it at the Ventura Vintage Motorcycle Swap Meet in 1991 for $175. And I kept it, I don't know, 15 years before I built it, just collecting parts for it and figuring out what I wanted to do with it. So
that's crazy, man. Listen, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you've probably got to get back to work. Thank you so much for coming on. Really, I can't explain how much I appreciate it.
No problem, man. If you need anything, you just let me know.
Thank you so much, buddy. I'll speak to you soon.
All right. Okay.
Cheers.